So we're in some serious trouble. I tell you, it just keeps getting worse and worse all the time out. Before I get into that, I want to tell you it's raining, obviously. I think if you go up north of us, it's a big ice storm. My daughter's in Iowa, and I haven't heard from her. I'm actually kind of concerned. Usually when I say be safe and that kind of stuff, she'll reply back, oh, you know, be quiet, Dad. You're worrying for nothing, but she hasn't replied back. I'm sure she's okay. This rain started out pretty heavy this morning, like a spring thunderstorm. Here it is February, and it feels like spring. It's 67 degrees, I think. I haven't started the wood stove in probably 48 hours. I've talked to you about my well before. My well is very old, and it leaks a little. I've put well packers in it and relined the casing, and I've done all that stuff. I've put a building over it. I've concreted, made a new pad, and all that has made an enormous improvement on it. But the well still can't handle flooding waters. And that's what we had this morning. I try so hard to make sure that the water stays away from it. I've got a French drain all the way around the well. That way, if water comes rushing down to it, that water will fall into the French drain and take it away from the well. But it was a heavy rain this morning, and it overwhelmed the French drain. I've even got a little ditch kind of carved out before the French drain, so it kind of goes around the French drain. That way the French drain doesn't have to take the bulk of that water. What happens is we live on this big hill. It's massive. We live on one of the highest peaks in the state of Missouri, and there's culverts all the way up the hill. And what happens is people don't rake their leaves in the wintertime. I have tried. I've even went on other people's property up on the hill and tried to rake the leaves out. There's no way for me to keep up with it. So what happens is those culverts get clogged up with leaves, and the water on their side of the culvert builds up. Well, finally, those leaves break loose and comes rushing down to my culvert. Well, then the leaves pack into my culvert, and before it has a chance to break loose, that water rushes over the ditch and runs right to the well, and so my well fills up with dirty water. As soon as I saw it, I mean, I've been watching it all morning. I came running out and pulled those leaves out as fast as I could, but it was too late. So my suspicions are my well water will be dirty. It's not a huge issue. A lot of people tell me, you know, it's an old junky well. I'll link a video that I made, 2 days ago to the end of this video. It'll be a little pop-up box comes around my face. I'd like for you to watch that video because it explains it really well on how I've got this old well, and it's still cheaper than having to get a new one. So what I do when we get these heavy rains and the well gets dirty, I just flush it out. I got that pump that pumps out 15 gallons per minute. I open it all the way up. It pumps all the water out within, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. And I do that 3 times. Let it fill back up, pump it out again, let it fill back up, pump it out again, and then the well will be clean. I'm not too worried about all the bacteria and everything that's in there. I used to bleach the water, but I don't even do that anymore. Anything that we drink either goes to the Berkey water purification system or it gets boiled. I'm not overly worried about it. We've never gotten sick. It's clean water. People say I should test it. I don't even know why I would want to test it. It's an old well. I know it's not going to test very well. I think people put too many restrictions on themselves, and that's why they can't live their dreams. The thing that bothers me, kind of transitioning into what's going on here, is it's these restrictions that people put on themselves that all of a sudden then they start putting restrictions on other people and telling other people what they have to do. And all we want to do is be left alone. I've talked about how Carolyn and I are on a carnivorous diet. We only eat meat. And it amazes me how many people just can't grasp that idea. I get comments all the time. No matter how many times I explain why I'm on a carnivorous diet, people just can't seem to handle the information. It's just beyond their scope. So instead of saying, that's interesting, I'll have to do some research, or that's interesting, it's not for me, they'll tell me that I am absolutely wrong and that I'm going to make myself sick. Carbs, carbohydrates. I don't care where you get your carbohydrates. I don't care if you get it from a potato or a spaghetti noodle. It's a carbohydrate. It's sugar. When you eat a potato, you're eating sugar. Sugar is addictive. Your body craves it. This is the reason people tell me I have to eat carbohydrates, is because they can't understand through their addiction why you would give up sugar. But I've said that I've eaten your diet before. Your diet makes me sick. I have asthma, arthritis, I can't use my shoulder anymore, can't split firewood. I really thought that my lifestyle of living off grid was coming to an end about 2 years ago. And then we got on the meat diet, arthritis went away, asthma went away, I'm healthy as an ox, I've lost a bunch of weight, I'm feeling good. I'm not even tired anymore. Used to be, I get up in the morning and by noontime I'd need a nap. Not anymore. So I must be doing something right. So the thing that I struggle with is I ate your way my entire life. I switched to a carnivorous diet. Oh my gosh, you're gonna die. You can't eat a carnivorous diet. That's terrible. What are you doing? Yet I'm healthy. People who tell me to stop eating a carnivorous diet because they're good, it's terrible, have never tried it. Now, there are people out there in my comment section who tell me, I've eaten your carnivorous diet and I feel like $1 million. I've never felt so good. And I really am happy for you. I really am. I'm glad that I was able to give you some guidance. There's YouTube doctors out there all over the place. All you got to do is put in meat diet, carnivorous diet, doctor, something like that. They'll pop up all over the place. But everybody wants to control you. Everybody wants to tell you how to do things because the experts out there, the real doctors, the scientists, are the ones that want you to eat junk food. We all have heard about this thing that's happening with the environment and we're all gonna kill the planet. So I read 2 articles about it. The first article was sent to me by 1954 Shadow. He sends the articles all the time. And he was talking about how they want us to get off meat and all kinds of other stuff, fuels, and want us to live basically primitive lifestyle, which is fine by me. I can do that. But I'm not gonna give up my meat. What they want to do is they want to give you an ID card, a carbon card. It's like a credit card. And they'll give you so much credit, carbon credit on your credit card. Everybody. This way, the poor and the rich will give an equal amount of carbon credits. And so every time you go to the gas station, you'll have to swipe your carbon card and it will subtract how much carbon from your car that you can have. This will force you to use the train instead of using your car. When you go and buy a piece of meat, you'll get to swipe your carbon card and then it'll subtract how much carbon they want to subtract for eating meat. There's been several solutions to this, so you don't have to worry about your carbon card anymore. They're feeding children bugs, and we're seeing it all over the place. It's on TV and YouTube. Everybody's eating these bugs, and it's supposed to replace meat, and they're talking about how great it is. Doctors I've been watching have done studies on this, or read studies, and they're saying that it just doesn't provide as much protein and vitamins and minerals that meat does. The other thing is everybody's telling me I need to eat vegetables. The problem is now they're saying that all the chemicals they use to grow vegetables is hurting the environment. So now they want us to use natural fertilizers. How are you going to get natural fertilizers? Let's think about this. They don't want us raising cows, so we can't get fertilizer from cows to put on the vegetable garden. So what are they doing? All over Ireland and all over the place, they're restricting how much fuel farmers can use in their tractors. So they can't raise cows, they can't raise corn or any other vegetable because it's all hurting the environment. Now people will ask me, well, what do they expect us to do? Well, they expect us to die. The elitist, they say that we can call them elitists, they call themselves elitist. They have this forum that they go to each year. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. So this forum only wants 500 million people on the planet. They want themselves and the worker bees. That's all they want. Everybody else is going to die. Just get rid of them. How are they going to do that? They're going to starve us to death. And we're already kind of seeing it, I think. I think we're seeing that they've got chickens with the bird flu. Many people, including myself, seems to think that this bird flu is kind of a hoax. They tell the farmers raising the chickens, if you get a sick bird, let us know. We'll come out to your confinement, we'll test it, they have a sick bird. Of course, they got 50 million birds. One of them gets sick, comes out, checks it, oh yeah, it's got the bird flu. It's more likely it has Merrick's disease, which is a very common chicken disease. But what they say is, okay, we got to call your entire flock. So the farmer gets to kill its entire flock, then he gets to lay all his workers off. All the while, the government gives him a big paycheck for killing his flock. That's pretty profitable if you really think about it. So why wouldn't the farmers do it? They already want us to restrict the amount of beef that we eat. And so how are they going to get us to restrict the beef we're going to eat? They're going to grow meat in a petri dish. So they're already doing it, and it's already being sold. The FDA and the USDA have both approved the sale of this lab-grown meat. Now, this is not plant-based meat. like Beyond Beef and all that stuff, what they do is they take cell cultures from an animal and then they grow this cell culture in a petri dish. Now they're claiming that this is all meat. You should know that the person who is pushing this the most is a former software developer, one of the richest guys on the planet. He is now the biggest farmer in the world. He wants us to eat lab-grown meat. The company that's selling it is in Israel. Well, they did some studies on this meat. Basically, it's one big tumor. First of all, it's not total meat. They had to put a lot of additives in it to make it look like meat. These additives can cause cancer. There's also additives like soy protein. Now we know, and there's a lot of studies on this, this isn't even being hidden anymore, that soy protein reduces testosterone in men. Don't quote me on this, but let's just say that men's testosterone levels have dropped 80% since the 1960s. In the last decade, it has dropped another like 20, 30%. And so it's actually increasing in the speed at which men's testosterone levels are dropping. They tested this lab-grown meat on rats. Now, rats can eat anything. We see them, they'll eat everything. They immediately saw a change in body chemistry. Fat cells and different things. I mean, I can't explain, I'm not a scientist, but a bunch of things changed. And then their blood work was messed up. What it showed was they had liver and kidney damage. It's already been approved by the USDA to give us cancer and destroy our liver and kidneys with lab-grown meat. We're going to eat bugs, which does not provide the nutrients that we need, and we're not allowed to eat vegetables anymore because of the harmful chemicals being put into the soil. What is the solution to all this? Well, the solution is do what I'm doing. Get yourself some chickens. Now, I understand right now it is very difficult to get chickens, but do the best you can. What I would recommend is if you can find a farmer who has eggs, you ask him, are these fertile eggs? He says yes, you get a couple dozen of them, you get yourself an incubator, and you incubate it. Now, I've showed you videos on my incubator. I can actually run my incubator off my solar panel. Now you have chickens. You feed them the sunflower seeds and the mesh and everything that I've showed you that we do. That way you don't even have to go to the store and buy food, because we saw that Tractor Supply store food is keeping, the theory is, keeping chickens from producing eggs. Eggs give you all the nutrition you need. The problem is that people are going to say, I can't eat eggs all by myself, I got to have something else. That means you need to get off carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is an addiction. As soon as you get off carbohydrates, it really doesn't matter what you eat. Eating is like breathing. It's just something your body has to do. So, if you click this up next box, take you to a video where I was talking about the well. So I hope I can inspire you to take care of yourself, because they're not going to. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.